Do you want to know how to teach a child to listen and follow directions? Well, you are not alone. I think many parents hope for that as they battle things out with their children sometimes. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and good communication all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we are talking about willingly following directions. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about self-government because that is key to teaching a child to follow directions. And then I'm going to talk about some of the principles to self-government that could be useful in helping your child be more willing to follow your directions. So this channel, it's called the Teaching Self-Government channel. My app is called the Teaching Self-Government app. Podcast, Teaching Self-Government podcast. What is teaching self-government? Well, it's when you teach somebody else self-government. But what is self-government really? Is it a form of government? Well, yes, but not as much in the broader sense, even though I know in my country we are supposed to be a self-governing nation. So it really touches on sovereignty there, this idea that I should be in control of myself, like my state should be in control of itself, my home should have sovereignty, be in control of itself, but individually, we have individual sovereignty too. When we are self-governing, that means that we are taking that sovereignty and we're doing something with it. We're not going to allow anyone else to be in control of how we think or how we use our emotions or how we solve the problems or how we connect with people. We are going to take responsibility for that. We're going to take ownership of our relationships with other people. This does not mean that we're going to be controlling or push off anybody else. In fact, it's the opposite. When you are self-governing and you are behaving in a sovereign way, you're not behaving like a king or a queen to everybody else. What you're doing is saying, okay, so now that I know I'm with this group of people just automatically because we're a family or we're coworkers or we're at school or whatever it is, that now I know that I have to decide who I am compared to those people. I have to analyze my role, their role, who we are to each other, and how we can best work together. So what I can do to control myself so that we can all work better together. That means each person takes personal responsibility. The definition of self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. So that means that each person analyzes themselves and makes changes in themselves on a regular basis. How in the world does a person learn that? Does it just come from birth? It could, but that would be very rare. This is something that's learned environmentally by parents. It's something that's learned through parenting and training to your children. So let's talk about how to learn it then. So if you've subscribed to this channel already, then you know I teach skills and I teach principles of self-government all over this channel. It's a never-ending supply of new information. But specifically, I mention 4 basic skills a lot. The 4 basic skills of self-government are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. Now, when a person learns these 4 basic skills, and I'm talking any age person, not just child, these are adult skills. We all know people who can't disagree appropriately or accept criticism, right? They are adult skills. When a person learns these 4 basic skills for life, that ends up taking care of 99% of their behavioral problems. It also eliminates most of their anxieties, worries, that they won't be understood, all of that type of stuff too. So, those 4 basic skills, did you hear that one, following instructions? That is a key skill. What does that sound like? Following directions, right? If you give a child a direction, you're technically giving them an instruction. But the way that you do it matters, and if they're prepared for it, that matters too. These 4 children's books each teach one of the 4 basic skills and are really great children's books for children like 12 and under. All of the characters are siblings. They're based off my children. They're in all of the books. The oldest character is 10. The youngest character is 4. They really do apply to all ages. They're super relevant to the children and they rhyme. They're a lot of fun. They have hidden animals on all of the pages and stuff like that too. I love these. I probably took a little less time writing these than I did my big old beefy Parenting a House United book, but I have to say the results that these have had with children has just been remarkable. So this book here teaches following instructions. To teach the following instructions skill, you could read this book with your children, and then you could start to act it out and do role play practices. Have a little bean jar where you're collecting beans in the jar, and once the jar is filled, which means you've done enough practices, then everybody gets a treat or something like that. Create a standard of following instructions in your home. Everybody will feel like they know what's expected of them a little bit more, but also you'll be able to know what to correct. So what are the steps to following instructions? There's 5 steps to following instructions. You look at the person or the situation, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, do the task immediately, and then check back. So the person has to do all 5 steps if they're going to actually follow instructions. So when a lot of parents give directions or instructions to their children, they're fine with the child's eye rolling or attitudes or or something like that, or oh. They're okay with it so long as the actual task gets done. There are 5 steps to following an instruction. Step number 4 is to do the task immediately. All the other steps are more important than do the task immediately. So if I can encourage you as parents, if you're going to be teaching this skill to your children, make sure that you also learn all the parent skills, the correction skills, and all that kind of stuff too. You can learn all of that on my website, teachingselfgovernment.com. There's a course there, trainings, lots of different supplies and books and stuff, okay? For the parents to learn your self-government skills to correct the problems calmly. I'm not going into that on this video, but the parent has to not be myopic about the task. Sometimes parents get task-oriented and they're like, we've got to load the car, load the dishwasher, find the shoes, whatever it is, okay? They list their things out. And so then they tell the child, okay, I need you to go find the shoes. And the child's like, oh, and walks off. And the parent allows that to happen because they're thinking, I just got to get everything on the list done. This is a total rookie parenting mistake, okay? We shouldn't be focused so much on the tasks or on being efficient in all of our daily things. I know we love that. It feels wonderful. But really, I'll tell you something I learned. As a treatment foster parent who also had 4 children of her own, who also was a homeschooler and we're running 2 businesses out of our house, let me tell you something. I learned that you can only expect maybe one day in 10 to go completely perfect, where there's no issues that you have to handle and no things that you have to correct. They're children. They're learning. That's how it goes. Embrace it. What you do is you give them an instruction, remind them of all the 5 steps, and then if they're going to walk off but they're rolling their eyes as they do it, then you have to pull them back and do a correction. They don't get the opportunity to go and do that instruction yet unless they are having a calm face, voice, and body. They're looking at you. They say okay or they disagree appropriately about it, and then they also have to come back and check back with you afterwards so that you can praise them, because we're going to teach them cause and effect since this is a self-government skill. Another trap that parents fall into with our children is when they give directions, the children will talk back. Well, I shouldn't have to because, or no, that's so-and-so's job, or that type of thing. You can teach your children how to talk with you the correct way. You can teach them how to disagree appropriately, which is another skill of self-government that is very useful. In fact, for most people, this is one of their favorite skills because it teaches a lot of critical thinking, reasoning, self-assessment, a lot of stuff going on there. So when a person disagrees appropriately with another person, they stay calm. They go through a 7-step process. I'm not going to outline all those here for you because you probably will be able to find them other places on the channel or on my website or in the books. There's lots of places you can find them, but basically you're calm, you're seeking to understand the other person, you're making sure you get understood in a calm way, and then if you don't get things your way, you know how to handle it afterward. That's the basics of all of the steps that are in the disagree appropriately skill. Think how empowering that is for children to know a skill for how to communicate with another person, possibly even get their way, and quite frankly, they should get their way a lot. And then they don't have to get angry, frustrated, have a power struggle. It saves them so much energy and time. If you want your child to listen to what you have to say, then you might need to also teach them how to listen to you too. The disagree appropriately skill does teach active listening, because you might tell them, no, you can't go to the party because, and then they're going to say to you, Mom, I understand that you don't want me to go to the party because, but, and they're going to explain something to you. That's active listening. Do you want to know something surprising though? The number one most effective thing for helping a child listen to you is to just look them in the eyes. So many parents try to talk to the children, and it's as they're going about doing all these different things. You need to take the time. If you're going to instruct them to do something, go right to them and look in their eyes. If they think they've got an extra 2 minutes if they don't look at you, and because that's how it always happens, is you say, hey, you got to stop playing that and go to dinner, and then they pretend they don't hear you, and then here we come 2 minutes later nagging. Well, they just earned 2 minutes of playtime because they didn't know the skill following instructions and to look at the person, and you didn't come in there to look at them when you gave the instruction. So they didn't have to act like they received it. It's just manipulation. Some people are hard of hearing, but mostly for children, it's manipulation. Recently, I observed my granddaughter Clara, who is 2, using selective hearing with her mother at age 2, already recognizing, no, I'm just going to pretend I don't hear it, when her mother was instructing her to do something. And so, of course, her mom had to go over there and make sure that she had better eye contact, but also correct Clara, because Clara did know that she should have listened at that time. If you teach your children younger, it's better, but it's a skill that anyone can learn at any time in life, because following instructions, disagreeing appropriately, all the 4 basic skills and other skills for self-regulation that are part of the Teaching Self-Government Parenting course are skills for life. There is a skill that could really be helpful for you as you're trying to work through teaching some of these other skills to your children, and that is the skill of calmness. In the description below this video, there is a link to my Calm Parenting Toolkit. If you click on the link right now, you can have the Calm Parenting Toolkit for free. It's a little introductory mini course to teach you just the skill set for calmness, which will help with all of the other skills because they all require calmness too. If you click on the link that says teachselfgov.com/toolkit, then you will be able to have the Teaching Self-Government Calm Parenting Toolkit for free. Click on that link now. I'll see you there.